Hello, everyone. Welcome to this panel, which is maybe unlike most of the others here at this conference. Maybe some of you are wondering, what the hell does football have to do with software development, with technology? Well, that's one of the questions that we'll try to answer today. Not me really, but my panelists, Miho and Aleks. To begin with, let's introduce you. So, Miho, will you say something about yourself?
I'm Miho. I'm editor at Tribina. I do podcasts and nothing much more. And I'm chief football writer at Telesports. And football enthusiast, good at math and bad at everything else.
Well, not including public speaking, right? Hi everyone, I'm Aleks. I'm the co-founder at Ofenziva. Ofenziva is a sports portal which began with work at 2019. We run a series of podcasts, mostly focusing on football, mostly focusing on Croatian Football League, but also covering a variety of other topics, including Olympic Games and so on. This is one part of my business. I'm also an entrepreneur. And pretty much through Ofenziva, I have the opportunity to connect two of my biggest loves, which is IT and sports. So yeah, happy to be here and to let you know more about this.
Nice. So when it comes to content creation, how come you chose to have a podcast really on Croatian? I mean, it's on football, about football, but particularly focused on Croatian Football League. For those of you who don't know, both of these podcasts analyze Croatian League from each leg to the next. So how come you chose that, Miho? Was that like some out of love for the league, or you thought that maybe something is missing in the current analysis?
All started with the coffee. We had a coffee date every Thursday at 5. My friend, my co-podcaster, Korda, he's something like Commander Data, almost Android. He's all strict to respect the schedule, so he had coffee date Thursday at 5. And we talked about football, we talked about Croatian League, we talked about our beloved club Hajduk, but he changed his job, and we had to cancel our coffee date once, twice, 3 times. Then we decided to move our coffee date to podcast. We decided to film our talks because everyone here talks about football on their coffees, but we talked about football through analytics, through facts. Gordon Paušić worked in football. Then I was working also in some firm doing scouting. So we talked through numbers, through facts, and people liked it. So now we're here, I don't know, 5 or 6 years later.
Thank God Korda changed his job. Yeah.
If he didn't, we will still drink coffee in the same cafe bar.
Aleks, how about you? How did you start? Is it purely out of love for Croatian League, for Rijeka, or what's the secret?
Yeah, so it's a similar story as with Tribina. Me, my brother, and his best friend, who is his best man now as well. This is how these things tend to go. We realized that we spent most of our passive time outside of work talking about football, talking about sports, and talking about how we would do things better. And so we decided to move from just talking to actually doing something and creating a series of podcasts in which we would analyze and use our, let's say, best sides to analyze things in a bit different way than what we are seeing in most of the mainstream media. So this is how Ofenziva came to life. We decided to implement some data analytics into sports, an analytical approach to explaining things. It's a very niche market in Croatia. It was a very niche market in Croatia back in 2019. Now these things are becoming more and more mainstream. However, there's still a lot of more space for growth, which is why I'm happy to be here actually with Miho, and we discussed this morning that we are not actually competitors. We really don't see each other in the same way. First of all, we are both more or less non-profit, or at least whatever we earn through online advertising, through YouTube monetization, we reinvest again into marketing, into merchandise. I don't have one. no, Ralph Lauren is not a sponsor of Ofenziva yet. But yeah, so I think there's more than enough space in the whole Croatian landscape, in the whole Croatian market for different podcasts and different portals that will cover the whole scenario. So yeah, on some days, of course, we do question: are we insane for following? For example, if you're watching a game in between Šibenik and Varaždin on Sunday evening, you really do question your life choices. And should you do something better with your life after 90 minutes of literally nothing and pure boredom? But then again, then this little thing happens, a referee does something unprecedented, and then you see, okay, it makes sense. And then you see Dario Šarić, the famous NBA player, in the stands watching the game.
It's almost zen.
Yeah.
You watch nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's somewhere in between.
You actually kind of answered my next question about seeing each other as competitors. So I'm going to ask you, how do you see yourself, not in relation to each other, do you see yourself as pundits, opinion makers, or just somebody who loves talking about football? Because I feel that a lot of the audience, traditional audience, who watches HNL, let's say it like that, doesn't really go for podcasts, but still there is a huge following and it's growing for both of your podcasts. So how do you see yourself in that area?
I didn't really think about it. I just want to have fun. I just want to talk about football, talk with my friends, and things happens. Aleks asked me this morning about my plans for next year, future. I have no plans about it. I haven't planned anything of, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. It all started to happen. One thing led to another, and we are here. I like to enjoy this everything, this journey.
We don't have investors or boards pressuring us into doing something, so yeah, we're mostly depending on each other.
If any investor want to contact us, just leave the mail. And just, I want to enjoy. That is my vision of this.
Yeah, same with us. So it's still kind of a hobby. It's a side business, which really is a hobby in between friends. We use it as a platform for young journalists or people who want to become journalists, both male and female, regardless of their interest in different sports. So mostly here we're talking about football, but it's a platform for other various sports. And I'm really happy to work with young and vibrant and tech-savvy people and give them the opportunity to write because you need to gain some experience somewhere. And it really means a lot to see that people are being recognized and people are being actually, well, not lured, but hired from other bigger media, starting from Index, Sportske Novosti, Telesport, for example. So they are recognizing the talents that we have within Ofenziva. So yeah, it's a good appreciation for us.
So do you ever get negative feedback? So I assume you do, because you talk about players and coaches sometimes very negatively. I mean, you have to in your analysis. But Croatia is a small country, and as you said, it's kind of a niche area. Do you run into each other? Did you ever have like a?
Of course.
Yeah.
My co-podcaster was Rijeka analyst last year. So once I said Rijeka went to Maksimir to play a draw, he was all furious. We didn't want to play a draw. We wanted to win. I said, okay, you wanted to win, but you did nothing to win. So in my book, you played for a draw. So it's my co-podcaster, Josip Paušić, but we know almost every coach in HNL. We know most of analysts, assistant managers. So we talk with them all the time, and they are not always happy with our opinions. But they are opinions. We have some arguments, we have some facts. You can appreciate it, or you can, I don't know, think we are stupid, but it's your opinion. Everybody is entitled to their opinion.
Aleks, any Rijeka neighbors with threats or comments?
Yeah, I mean, Rijeka is a bit softer than Split or Hajduk fans. I mean, that's a fact. We know it. But still, we do get called alleged fans or people who are trying to disrupt things. I mean, it's a thing, so it's nothing strange. Croatia is a small market. Pretty much everybody knows everyone. And then you do sometimes question how far do you go with your constructive criticism or criticisms at all, because one day or another you will need those people and you will need them for some interviews, you will need them for some participation in different podcasts. So you do have it somewhere in your mind, how far do you want to go, which is why I said you really want to be argumentative and you want to provide constructive criticism, not just blasting all out and being... This is why we take a step back when we are analyzing things and we are putting aside the emotions of loving a football club or being a supporter of a football club or any other club in any other sport, because this then enables you to be realistic and to remain neutral, which is really important in journalism and sports podcasting.
Of course, and it helps when you get your facts straight, when you can tell someone, okay, I said that because that, and that. We have 3 numbers there, 2 numbers here, 3 is bigger than 2, sorry. And they appreciate it. They are very defensive, of course, but when you soften them up, there isn't much of, I don't know, bad blood here.
Was there maybe sometimes a positive feedback, like somebody said, whoa, you opened my eyes to something?
Of course. I said we are friends with almost all managers, assistant managers. We are friends with analysts, not because we are, I don't know, we are friends with them because they appreciate what we do. They think we do good things, and we work something for, I don't know, 6 years, and we have some reputation, at least at being at good intentions. We want to see our media space be better than, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 years ago.
You mentioned emotions. So how hard is it? I mean, we all know what football can do, our clubs can do to our emotions, especially us Hajduk fans. But how do you, I mean, you said you do it, but is it hard? How do you do it?
Well, you need to separate those two as much as you can, because I honestly think as an emotional person that emotions are a killer of rational decisions, especially in business. Although it's a hobby, I still try to run it as a business. So yeah, you need to separate those two as much as you can, and you need to take a step back, and if possible, remove yourself at least physically, which is why this year, for the first year after 25 years, I haven't extended my season ticket. This is one of the reasons. I'm talking about Rijeka. Another one is a ridiculous price increase. But yeah, it kind of gets easier once you start watching the games from a press position, when you have your laptop in front of you, and when you're writing things about the game. So anybody writing a report or when you're writing an article, you really get sucked into that whole way of thinking. You stop becoming a fan. At least this happened for me, and I think it's good. When something becomes your job, at least to some extent, then you kind of remove that emotion. You need to do it, because you cannot be jumping in a press box and celebrating goals of your team. It doesn't really make any sense.
Okay. Well, we can just then switch from emotional to analytical, because my next question is, football is becoming increasingly data-driven, in both when coaches are preparing a game, in both analysis. How do you incorporate this data into your analysis? Is it something that you base your analysis on, or is it more like narrative-driven, Miho?
I tend to incorporate data. I remember 12 years ago I worked in ONSE. It was Croatian analytic firm. We had to go to Koprivnica to get DVDs of a game. Now we have data for all the games in Croatia, also in the world, but in Croatia, and we can remove our blind spots. We maybe thought someone had a bad game or good game, but you have data, and you have opportunity to check your emotions. Like Aleks said, you have opportunity to check your thoughts and make a rational decision if someone played good or bad. And data is really changing football in the global picture. It's also changing podcasts, media. It makes us more objective, and it's really important to crunch data, to think about other contexts, and to go forward, to follow the stream in Europe.
Aleks, you are also using data as much, and if yes, which tools or sites are yours?
Well, like most of everybody here, if you're watching the games, you're probably watching them through SofaScore and monitoring their data. So I think these guys did a tremendous job in bringing the whole data in sports much closer to the broader audience. Opta as well, being one of the companies who is providing detailed analytics. Our job is then to actually put it into a context and explain why, what does something mean. So, of course, everybody can see that one player had, 9 out of 13 successful long balls, but what actually does it mean? Is that a guy who is good in long balls, or does his team make him play that way? So there's a lot of different things that you can interpret out of this data, and what we are actually trying to do when explaining a game of football or a game of any other sport to a regular subscriber of Ofenziva, either in written form or in podcast form. So I'm happy that data has entered into European sport and became mainstream. I mean, it's been a thing in America and in American sports for over 30, 40 years. It all started with football, American football, then with baseball, which are much simpler sports when it comes to data and to explaining a specific set of skills that a player has. Football is much more complex, European football, or soccer, as someone might call it, God forbid. But yeah, having said that, those are my two loves. I'm happy that we are now able to talk more in mainstream form about data in sports and about the whole analytics.
And how about your audiences? I mean, obviously, since your audiences are growing or you have quite a following, they're reacting positively. But do you think that in general, the audience, the fans are moving more towards data and keeping an eye on like statistics, XG, and things like that?
I think they are. I remember when Telesport started back in 2016. We had a corporation with, I think it was Instat, and people were calling us names. What numbers? What dribblings?
You geeks.
You geeks. What key passes? What is that? Now we have data entered the mainstream. It entered HRT, it entered Nova TV, it entered the coaches' jargon. So I think a lot of things changed in this, 10 years.
So do you think like in close are analysts like in the football clubs, are they a norm now, or is it just something that's kind of recent in Croatian league? I know like Rijeka, Hajduk, Dinamo, of course, have analysts.
They are norm now. 5 years ago, maybe it wasn't norm. Now they are. You have some of junior teams have analysts. I don't know. 30 years ago, conditioning was a next big thing. Not everyone had a conditioning coach. Now everybody have a conditioning coach, fitness coach, someone who thinks about physical preparation. 10 or 5 years ago, no one had an analyst. Now everybody has analysts. So it is a jump in game evolution.
Okay. Aleks, do you feel that data and all the statistics that you use in podcasts help you explain some maybe complex elements of football that maybe the general audience or maybe younger audience doesn't get from just watching the game?
Yeah, I mean, we use it. We try to explain why a certain team plays in a certain way. We find these things interesting. So this is something that really makes us happy. And we try to explain, and we don't do predictive analysis, so we don't really try to, be bookmakers and try to say that, okay, this team will win the league or the other team will win the league, but we rather try to focus on a style of a team and explain why is that interesting or different to some other teams and why it's providing them with the results. I mean, nowadays, playing build-up is pretty much a thing for all of the teams. So thank you, Pep Guardiola. This is now being kind of a norm or very common also in younger generations. Some people might say that it's a killer of creativity and killer of individualism. Okay, let's debate it. But anyhow, I think that data has, once again, I think data has entered the sports, especially football, on a very, very big door.
You touched upon something that I was going to ask next. Do you think that maybe the sport is becoming too analytical? Is it possible to, is it losing its, let's say, romantic side with unpredictability?
I think we have that kind of a nostalgic bias where we tend to think about the times before 10 or 20 years and then think of them as better times. It's not realistic. I think it's just a nostalgic bias that everybody has once we go over the age of 30, and we look back, because the emotion that we had there and the eyes that we had when following sports or anything else in our life or related to arts or some kind of a creative business was not the same as it is today. So I think it's more our subjective way of looking at things and romanticizing the old times than really these times nowadays being worse than they were 20 years ago.
Mihovil, same question basically.
I watched Las Palmas versus Athletic Bilbao 2 days ago.
Not Šibenik, Varaždin.
I watched it parallelly. It was a great game. It was a game, I don't know, 20 years ago you could watch that kind of quality only between, I don't know, Real Madrid and Manchester United, top teams. Now analytics made available that style in small clubs, in the middle table clubs like Las Palmas, like Athletic Bilbao. Okay, Athletic Bilbao is a special club, but they play sexy football. They play from their goalkeepers. They don't snatch long balls. They don't tend to get duel by duel. They play football like someone 20 years ago played in Real Madrid.
Yeah, that's one thing, and also I think there's an abundance of information. And so 10, 15 years ago, you had the opportunity to watch 1 or 2 games per weekend. Nowadays, you can watch 200 games per weekend. So people really tend to miss out on something good that happens, and then they focus on the biggest teams, which are always very predictable. So the Romans, if you look at it from that way, it's gone. But in reality, I don't think so.
So you would agree that the technology, or the analysis at least, the data is making the leagues better and smaller clubs more competitive?
Yeah, I see it in the same way, yeah.
Obviously, technologies and data are present in clubs as well, not just for the analysis, but for as media people. But like we always see players with those things around them to help them.
GPS.
Yeah, to help them make them better. Do you think that also somehow helps clubs take a step forward, make them like super soldiers, super footballers?
Should we say the example of you working in a unnamed Croatian club as an analyst and then preparing the whole week for a game, and then your 2 18-year-old players go out on a Friday night, get drunk, so the whole week of work actually goes to waste. So and sometimes...
And whole Saturday I'm like this. Not again. Of course, GPS data can help you to decide if player A has more capacity from player B, if he's stronger, can run more. But like I said a few moments ago, conditioning entered in football 30 years ago. Now we have peak conditioning in every single league. There isn't any weak team that falls off at I don't know 70 minutes mark. They go down. No one does that. Everyone is physically ready because conditioning in football is long enough to everyone embrace it. Analytics are just entering, and we have to wait, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 years to really stick it in the core of game.
And to see the benefits maximal. Okay, I have a question. How do you see those 10 years? How will it look like? Do you have like any ideas or any knowledge of what the future of football analytics is going to be like?
Now we working with event data. Event data is something what happened. I don't know. You have a player that passed the ball. Pass can be complete or incomplete. We can measure how many completed passes, how much progression he made, but we can't measure if he had a better option to pass. Maybe he had 2 better options than one he chose. So the next level is artificial intelligence. Someone who can work all the possible scenarios what player could pick, and we will have opportunity to see how much players choose right actions. Now we can do it manually by hand. Pause the game, see, okay, player had this option, that option, that option. He chose that one. It wasn't the best. Okay. We sit him down, say, okay, you had this option, and he will maybe remember it. But I think with artificial intelligence, we will have opportunity to do that automatically.
Aleks, same question. Basically, your vision of the future with AI in analytics.
Yeah, Miho stole my pitch, as always. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, AI, predictive analytics. So being able to predict what will happen in a specific game. This is something that people are right now doing with eye test. Having technology help us in that way will be a game changer in the whole sports industry. So yeah, I mean, AI is one of the topics of this whole conference. I don't think that sports will be any different to any other industry. And it's an industry, it's a big money-making industry. So yeah, I think it will benefit from anything that AI has to offer.
Okay, we have less than 2 minutes. So just a quick question, something I'm really curious about. There are reports that football and other sports are losing popularity in Europe and globally. Younger generation doesn't follow it. Do you think that maybe tech, AI is the way to go to attract Gen Z or whatever they're called, the younger ones even? So.
I don't know. I think the attention span in younger generation is getting lower and lower, and this is one of the reasons why. And it's not really the case only with our younger generations. I can hardly remember when was the last time I watched a game for 90 minutes without scrolling on my phone when looking at their home or looking for other ways to have fun. So yeah, it's not really the kids these days. It's also us a bit older. Is football losing its popularity? I don't think so. Is it going in a way that I think is a good one? I'm not really sure. So in 2 years' time, after we have the World Cup in the States, I think it will be a big test on the football and the way as we know it. Yeah, will we have? I don't know. There were some proposals to extend the halftime to 25 minutes so Shakira can have her performance or a concert. The Americans tend to not understand that football is not football. So it's a bit different. But yeah, who knows?
Anything to add, Miho? Anything to add?
No, nothing to add. But I think Shakira is a great addition to football.
Okay, and just to wrap up, comment on the biggest match of the day, of course, Hajduk Bilogora predictions.
3-1. 3-1.
Dinamo Bayern, just quick predictions. What do you expect?
Should I promote myself and tell that I'm going to the game tonight?
Oh,
No, I won't do that. But
Okay.
yeah, I hope for a good game. Bayern is a big favorite, of course. Dinamo should not be in that position of self-awareness where they say, "Oh, being in Europe is such a big award for us. We'll be playing at Allianz Arena." No, do your best. Go for the points. Go for the win, possibly. Of course, it's a much better team. So I would expect, handicap loss.
Park the bus. Park the bus.
okay, thank you guys. I know it's time for a Q&A if somebody has any questions from the audience.
Do we have any questions? I mean, they were talking about football and technology. You have to have questions. No? Oh, we have one. Okay.
Hello. Do you think AI can develop that much that can predict the football match results so it can change the gambling industry?
Can
Yes, sport gambling industry, that it can predict all the
Well,
football results. So
As far as I know, the betting companies are already using AI to some extent. So they're not only using their bookies, but they're also using AI and a huge amount of statistics to predict the outcomes of a match and setting the quotes at the right benchmark. So yeah, I think it will continue to grow. Can it really predict? I don't think so, because there are thousands of different parameters that are in the end affecting the end result of a game.
Betting industry is far ahead of football industry. So yeah, I think they are pretty close.
okay, thank you.
Ja ću samo na hrvatskom pitanje za Mihu. Kad će Juričić na podcast?
Antonio. Ne znam, kad se nađemo u Zagrebu pa ćemo onda. Glupo je da budemo preko televizije obojice.
Do we have any? Yes, we do. Just keep in mind that it's a lunch break. So if you talk too long, the lunch break is going to be shorter.
Is there any chance we get a live Tribina session somewhere?
We had it at Sofa Bar, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, but people weren't exactly, I don't know, argumentative. They asked a question and chilled the rest of the evening. So maybe at the Christmas time.
So this is quite a controversial industry. So where is the thin line between entertainment and also maybe even supporting somebody's addiction and obsession?
It's a very general question. I don't know how to respond to that. I don't know. Do you have an answer, Miho?
I don't know either, but I think sport is pure. We talk about the purest form of
Competition.
Competition.
Between, men and women.
So if anyone tends to misuse that, we can do anything about that. We can only support the true colors of football.
Yeah, exactly. So you inspired me a little bit. Thanks. So that's why amateur sports and recreational sports is really important, and it should be emphasized as much as possible in between general population, because these grassroots sports for all different sports are really important, and this is something that actually keeps the whole industry going.
Okay, thank you guys. Before you leave, just to make sure that you got things straight, who's going to be Croatian champion this year? And then we're going to have you back next year just to see if you were right.
My heart says Rijeka, my mind says Dinamo.
Okay, Miha?
Dinamo.
Dinamo.
both either.
Don't be too depressed. Stipe, you can have your say as well.
Oh, no. It's Dinamo.
You can lie.
Dinamo.
You can lie.
You can lie. Yeah. Give it up, please, for our panelists.